Hello, Internet, and welcome to my live reaction for Eden Zero, Chapter 133. When we last left our heroes, Ziggy had shown up in VR, had kind of dragged Shiki into the separate dimension sort of deal, tortured Rebecca for a while, giving Shiki the strength he needed to use Ether Gear while restrained and break free, and reveal it was all a setup by Xenolith, on a really scummy move that Shiki was a little mad about, but then just kind of brushed aside. It was sort of weird. And then anyway, they were all kind of debriefing after training. Xenolith kind of approached Rebecca, referred to her as being captivated by gravity, which Rebecca took to infer romantic feelings towards Shiki, which she denied. But Xenolith made some comments about her powers being more special than anyone else's, which we've kind of already known, but all of that kind of led to Rebecca sort of moping in the Eden Spa and agreeing to train, or thinking that she wants to train there, which Witch found out about, promised to train her in the Eden Spa, which would increase her ether powers, and then train her to become a Chrono Witch. We'll see more about that later, I'm guessing. But all that being said, let's jump right on into Chapter 133, Following Ziggy's Path. Our picture here is of Xiao Mei in a sort of martial arts pose, having defeated a large bearded man in the Mildian Colosseum. And speaking of Xiao Mei, we sort of open with a Xiao Mei monologue. The Eden Zero came to the planet Foresta, where Ziggy had caused a machine rebellion. Shiki and his friends saved Foresta from its crisis, and met Master Xenolith, the founder of the Magimek School of Gravity Arts. Our heroes began training under Xenolith's tutelage. I foresee some tasty battles in the future, and she slurs up her own saliva. Oops, pardon me. They are training in order to defeat Ziggy. So yeah, I think this means we are officially now, for the third or fourth time, finished with the Foresta arc, given that we are now having a little bit of a fourth wall-breaking monologue. Anyway, meanwhile, Poseidon Nero has given his son Shora charge over the Ziggy matter, and he is set out to defeat Ziggy as well. We see these kind of, head, symbols of Nero and Shora kind of slightly deviating in their paths, it looks like. Another one with Elsie and Justice. Elsie, too, has gone after Ziggy, and Justice has gone after her. Now, what future awaits Shiki and his crew here in the Aoi Cosmos? And how goes their training? Here's an interesting thing that might be nothing or it might be something. Given that Xiao Mei is a character who resides in Mildian in the Sakura Cosmos, I'm very curious about the usage of the word here. What future awaits Shiki and his crew here in the Aoi Cosmos? Does that imply that Xiao Mei is in the Aoi Cosmos? If so, she can't be on Mildian, unless Mildian can travel to the Aoi Cosmos, like it's secretly a spaceship or something. Or is it just her kind of narrator self being a little divorced from her physical in-universe self? I don't know. Anyway, and how goes their training? And then we cut to Shiki training with his gravity powers in the VR training facility. We also see Wise shooting at some target practice dummies. And Xenolith kind of taunts him. Ever tried aiming that gun? What's your problem? Every shot hit the target. Oh, so he's not really aiming, he's using Machina Maker to hit the target for him. And then Xenolith criticizes him. You don't control the recoil, you pull the trigger too hard. You'll never be a marksman that way. So you're a gun expert too? And then he comes to Homura, who's in a sort of karate getup, I guess. And he yells at her, "Pivot foot!" And then she snaps, "That is exactly what my mentor said." I don't know enough about swordplay to really get what the problem is there. Rebecca is still bound up, like the rest of the crew was last time. You still can't activate your ether gear? It's hard! I guess that means that everyone else did, except for Rebecca, which makes sense given what we know about Rebecca's ether currently being kind of weak right now, and Witch's training should help out with that. But anyway, we then see Shiki and Xenolith kind of clashing in a bit more of a physical way, and as they kind of separate, Xenolith says, "Yes, your movement has improved quite a bit. Still," and kind of like taps on Shiki's elbow. And then, I can't tell if it's any motion of Xenolith's or gravity, just like slams Shiki into the ground. Wah! You're far too light. Dang it! That's also still kind of vague, because it could just be a gravity joke. Anyway, Xenolith continues, "Listen, Shiki. Gravity is the weight of the heart. The stronger the heart, the stronger its gravity. But you will also need inner tranquility to endure that weight." Interesting thing to note here, his eyes become white, which I'm guessing is just a stylistic choice, but still, the fact that he looks much more intense now, as he says this line, is telling. What it's telling exactly, I'm not entirely sure, but it's telling of something. In other words, strike a balance between strength and tranquility of your heart, or your gravity will fall to darkness. Never forget, the fall to darkness is the fall to Ziggy. So it's a similar warning to what he gave as Ziggy last week, except it's less incriminating. He's saying you could fall to become what Ziggy has, as opposed to what he said as Ziggy, which was that you will do this. Either way, that also kind of calls into question, what is up with Ziggy? Like large scale, the grander mysteries of Ziggy's character arc. Because Xenolith's line here is kind of implying that Ziggy fell off the path, right? That Ziggy was trained by Xenolith and he was kind of, morally right in the way that Xenolith is, and then at a certain point, Darth Vader fell into the darkness. Except, none of that was really visible when he was alive the first time, and Elsie reported seeing some kind of dark ether flowing into him shortly before he woke up. So there's still some kind of, that line kind of compounds onto the growing mystery of Ziggy, in a way that I think we should keep in mind going forward. Anyway, we see some more training montages of Clean and Laguna using their powers against each other. Chris and Moscow wrestling. I wish we got some kind of a recognition that they know each other, because they did both kind of work for the evil sister back in Rogue Outs. But just the fact they're sparring together is nice. And then we come to the Eden Spa, where we see Rebecca actually is tied up in the shibari way that Wise was hoping for last time. It's not super sexy, which is nice. Her breasts are basically fully covered up by her knees, so it's not really like in the way that if when Wise was tied up like that, had it been framed in a certain way, it could have been. It's not like that, but still. Excuse me? Could you not tie me up in the bath? And then she's with Witch, obviously. And Witch says, "I understand you're taking more time than the others to activate your ether gear while restrained." "Yeah, but it's directly on my skin. And then Witch kind of turns to someone walking in. "I've invited a special guest to join us today." And Rebecca looks up kind of scared. And someone comes in, definitely, I'm guessing a woman, just from the look of her. And we see like the long hair is kind of light. I'm guessing it's sister. "Looking good, Rebecca. Seeing you like that really turns me on. You better get out of those ropes before this turns X-rated, or else." Okay. Okay, Mashima. I mean, this is far from the worst of Eden Zero's kind of BDSM tendencies. But it's still not great. Okay. Rebecca freaks out, understandably. And then we cut back to Xiaomei. Okay. Hehe. I suppose you may want to see more of the Rebecca's bath time training arc. But training sequences are boring, so we're just going to move ahead about 7 days. Honestly, it's a very Mashima move. One of the things I've kind of noticed is that Mashima's never really, unless there's something in Rave Master, which I'm going to start reading very soon. Unless there's something in Rave Master, Mashima just never really cared about training arcs. Like, they either happen during time skips in the case of the post-Tartaros time skip in Fairy Tail, or they start to happen like right before the Grand Magic Games, before Altair shows up with Second Origin. Mashima just did not like training sequences. So anyway, she just kind of snaps her fingers. Everyone, please enjoy the rest of our story. Xiaomei signing out. And then we move to the planet Foresta. Back to the surface. So we're apparently not quite done with Foresta yet. But yeah, anyway, training over. And Shiki, we see cut to everyone lined up behind Shiki, as Shiki asks, "What? You're not coming with us?" And then Xenolith responds, "You're darn right I'm not. I'm practically a ghost. Besides, someone has to look after this little one." And we see Aruna is with him. I think that was her name, right? Aruna? Waving them all goodbye. So I guess that explains what we're doing with her. I kind of figured she'd, sort of join the crew. Wasn't quite sure what she would do, but I figured that she would do something. But apparently not. And Wise is kind of gripes at him. Didn't you have maintenance? And then Aruna responds, "That's okay. Zenny said that Mimi's friend lives at his house." And Xenolith looks at her, "Zenny?" And then Xenolith explains, "A helper robot, the same model as the one this tyke was so fond of." And Homura bows. "I learned so much from you." Rebecca kind of exhausted. "It was exhausting." And then Xenolith tells them, "I taught you a few things, but you're still a bunch of rookies. Come see me anytime you feel like it." And we see Aruna giving a happy goodbye to Happy and Pino. By the way, these two kind of repetitive sentences I've had, exhausted and exhausting and happy goodbye to Happy, were completely accidental. I would just accident. It wasn't until the second time over that I was wait a second. Ooh. Anyway, come see me anytime you feel like it, and I can train you some more. Can they? I mean, I guess I'm still kind of thinking in this series in the One Piece frame, where they can't really go back to past islands, but there's nothing really stopping them from coming back to Foresta. So they kind of could just pop in to see Xenolith if things get too bad. Anyway, Xenolith says, "And I can train you some more." And Shiki responds, "Yeah." And then Witch walks up. "Master Xenolith, may I ask one final question?" "I would like to know about when you met Lord Ziggy." "That would have been over 100 years ago. I don't remember it. The last time I saw him was 15 years ago. He said he was on a quest to find Mother." And then Witch asks, "When you saw him then, we 4 shining stars should have been with him." "No, I never forget a bunch of beautiful babes like you. Ziggy was alone." And then Witch thinks, not surprising, but still odd. Nadia at Red Cave, too, said that Lord Ziggy was alone. So yeah, that's a growing mystery, that the 4 Starshines should have been with him for his previous trip to Mother. And it should just be their memories that were erased. And yet, no one saw him with them. And something tells me that might be tied into the mystery of Ziggy as a whole. I don't know. Let's keep going. So Sister kind of says, 15 years ago, we left Granbell with Ziggy to find Mother. But our memories of everything that happened outside the Sakura cosmos have been erased, leaving no evidence behind. And Hermit picks it up. We were supposed to be on a quest to find Mother 15 years ago. But when we found Shiki, we abandoned the search and returned home. And then Witch finishes. Did something happen that necessitated the erasure of our memories? Or perhaps... and she does not finish the thought. As the Eden Zero flies off, Aruna waves at them goodbye. Xenolith just kind of watches, and then we cut to the Eden's kitchen. As Laguna is questioning someone, so what are you doing on this ship? And Chris snaps at him, like you're one to talk. And it's Couchpo, who's just there, enjoying herself. I'll have you know, I have done food reports on planets all across the cosmoses. Cosmoses? I mean, yeah, it makes sense. It makes sense, but I never really thought about the word cosmos in the plural sense. But I have never seen such an incredible kitchen in my entire life. How does it work? From comfort foods to the most unknown dishes, an all-you-can-eat buffet of anything you can ask for. Just push this panel and voila, here comes the food. I can make 3 years worth of videos on this kitchen alone. And then Clean agrees. The food here, it is yummy. And then Chris kind of like pushes back against her. Yeah, but the ship is about to get caught up in a war. It's not a safe place for civilians. And then Couchpo with this like near demonic grin. Can it be more dangerous than taking my unknown food from me? And Chris and Laguna both kind of gulp. And that's the end of that. Like I've said, Couchpo is certainly something. I don't know. I don't really have any tangible. I've never really. I don't know, because Couchpo feels like she should strike me. I should like be really frustrated with Couchpo, as like a clear like fat phobic sort of stereotype, and yet somehow she doesn't quite register, which makes no sense from any logical standpoint. But like emotionally, I'm just like, yeah, that's just her. Okay. Her name being Couchpo is pretty dumb. I'll leave it at that. But I don't know. Couchpo was Couchpo at this point. Anyway, on the Eden's one, someone reports to Ziggy, the robot uprising on Foresta ended in failure. Oh no, this is Ziggy himself. That was merely a test. Nothing to worry about. And he looks at everyone on the screen. Or not quite everyone. Because I think there might be something interesting here in the faces he's looking at. Because it's, the main four, Shiki, Rebecca, Wise, and Homura, Happy and Pino, the Starshines, and Moscow. And if he's looking at everyone in the Eden Zero, the Wearer Clean and Chris and Laguna, who all played at least some role in that arc, I can understand maybe not Couchpo, given that she wasn't exactly an active fighter. But Chris Cleaner and Laguna is definitely weird. But if the people specific to him, which most of them could be, I mean, why Moscow? Why Happy? Moscow's at least like shrouded in mystery a little bit, but Happy, we know Happy's story, and Happy should have nothing to do with Ziggy. Hell, in that case, why Wise and Rebecca? Though Rebecca's backstory is still enough of a mystery that maybe there's a tie there. I don't know. This is one of those things that I'm probably looking way too deep into. Anyway, Clown, one of the Dark Stars, approaches him. I don't suppose your resolve to fight against your old family has been shaken. Heh. I had lost my memories. I woke up one day and I was building a theme park on Granville without a care in the world. For a time, I searched for Mother, determined to retrieve my memories. But instead I found the baby Shiki. I sensed he was something more precious than my memories, and I decided to raise him. Okay, so that's an added caveat to Ziggy's backstory. He also lost his memories in something that feels completely separate from the Starshines losing their memories. Because that happened during the trip for Mother, and Ziggy's was before that. So what is going on here? There is something. I feel like we're so close to understanding Ziggy, and like there's just one little piece we're missing that'll make the whole mystery come into focus. And I need to know. I need to know. Okay. But that was a mistake. After my energy ran out, and I don't know what caused it, but I came back to life with all my memories revived, including the reason I was so drawn to Shiki. At the same time, I remembered why I cannot let him live. Okay. Okay. There's something. His memories are back. And so the only reason he was ever good was because he had lost his memories. Which then ties back into what Xenolith said earlier, that Ziggy fell to darkness. This is showing that he was not, as I've kind of been assuming, tainted by that dark ether. That dark ether that Elsie sensed way back when restored Ziggy to his natural state. Okay, this is starting to come together. I have a work to do. To create a world ruled by mechanical life forms. And Wizard, another member, asks, and Shiki prevents you from this work? No. He is a threat, not only to machines, but to the entire universe. He should not be allowed to exist. Okay. And as Ziggy touches Shiki's hologram, he laughs. And then he, swipes through the entire hologram screen and all kind of fades away. In other words, I have no family. I am the one to crush those foolish humans. Now let us begin. And he transforms into this... It just looks like a more powerful version of Ziggy. We will start by taking the Aoi Cosmos. Nero's empire will be mine. And that's the end. Okay, this was a great chapter. If I have anything to complain about, it's the bath scene. While last chapter is kind of, like I said last chapter, a typical level of Mashima fan service is I've kind of been having been reading Mashima manga for almost a decade now, which makes me feel old all of a sudden, but having been, in this man's works for 8.5, 9 years now, I'm sort of used to a certain amount of his type of fan service, but this just crosses the line. I think it's the implied threat of rape. Just it's a choice. It's a bad choice. I can't even make an understatement. It's a choice joke there. It's just bad. It's bad. And let's just assume nothing happened. And then it worked, and then Rebecca got free, and now she's done. And that whole subplot can never be talked about again. Goodbye. Though, I do really appreciate Mashima's utter hatred of the training arc. It's something I don't remember why I was thinking about this recently, or any of the context beyond, the existence of Second Origin and training via time skip. But Mashima just does not like training arcs. And you know what? I can appreciate that. I can appreciate that he knows what he does not like, and he just will not write it. So yeah, that's good. But the little bit of training arc we get it's fine. It's manageable. But it really is just people practicing their main skills a little bit. And then we then move on to some goodbyes. As Xenolith and Aruna are staying on Foresta, with Aruna now having, moving in with Xenolith, because she's like a child. She needs someone to take care of her. And yeah, it's nice. And then that final scene with the Starshine sort of compounds onto the larger Ziggy mystery. Something happened that necessitated the erasure of their memories, as Witch kind of points out. I don't know what it could really be, though. What happened? What happened? I just really, really need to know what happened 15 years ago. I am desperate for this information now. We get a little bit of info with that with Ziggy. A little bit. But, we don't quite know what. We know that he lost his memories at some point. He found Shiki. We know that he was... that this is his original form, which means that the Starshines only met him when he had lost his memories? Um, which maybe, hold on, here's a crazy thought. Because I'm not quite sure how binary works, right? Zeros and ones. But if I'm not mistaken, zero is like not having something and one is having it, right? Someone who knows computers can correct me on that. And so what if the Eden's 1 predates the Eden's 0? I've been assuming it's been numbers in the normal sense, right? 0 first and then 1. But what if he had, because he died before he lost he got his memories back, I mean, which means the only way he could have planned the Eden's 1 is if he did it before he lost his memories. Which means when he was full of memories, 1, and binary, he's a machine, don't forget, he had all this, and then when he lost his memories, he was empty, he was without, null, 0. I mean, that might be more of a production side in joke than actual canon motivation for the names, but it's definitely something to think about. On the question of how long he's had this plan. I don't know. Ziggy is really interesting, and also Ziggy's new form is cool as hell. I love the like mouth in the chest. That's just good. That's just some good design. I am here for it. I don't know. I am really excited to see where all this goes from here. Yeah. Fuck. Ziggy's got plans. He's got something that's happened to him. There's a reason he was drawn to Shiki, and it's something that makes Shiki have to die. Shiki's a threat to the universe. I don't know. There's a whole lot of tantalizing morsels here, and I want more. I just want more, and I want it now. But yeah, I could go on about that all night, but I'm not going to. So I'm gonna leave this video off here. Hope you all enjoyed the chapter and the video itself. If you did, feel free to drop me a like or subscribe. Do whatever makes you happy, And remember, your life is your own, okay? Bye!